obviously you know what the tone is like up here in Toronto, Steve. I'm sure you're aware after two of the most embarrassing games. I won't say in franchise history, but in recent history. You blow a 6-0 lead on Sunday, and then last night you just get pumped. And there's no life. There's no pushback. Their approach at the plate, they struck out 10 times, no walks. It's really sloppy. It's really a mess. And there's a certain amount of whipping boys, but the manager is probably taking the most heat. And I'm wondering how much heat you believe is appropriate. How much heat should be on John Schneider for what's been happening recently?
Yeah, I think, listen, I mean, the players play the game, but I do put some on managers. You know, I put some on Oliver Marmol in St. Louis, and so I think it's probably reasonably fair to consider the manager in Toronto. You know, there's something about experience. You know, when your team starts to struggle a little bit, if you've been through it before as a major league manager, there's a way to get through it. There's a tone to set. There's a way to answer questions. There's a way to respond. There's a way to pat guys on the back. There's a way to interact with your players after the game and before the game the next day. And, you know, I think that the manager's responsible for the work ethic, the preparation, the focus of the team, and obviously, to a degree, the results on the field. I mean, it's a results-based business. And so, you know, and where he can't catch and he can't throw, it's, you know, as a general manager, you don't go out there and catch and throw, but you understand that you've got some level of responsibility too. And so I don't think it's unfair to put it there, but I think it comes down to, you know, the players need to play, and he's got the right guys in the game for the most part when it comes to the lineup. They just have to go out there and perform. And, you know, there's only so much he can say to change a player's mood to get them on track. But there's something missing right now with this team. And, you know, at one point I thought it was just the maturity of transitioning from the good competitive team to, you know, a potential playoff team to a championship team. There's a level of growth and maturity and execution that happens in that process. We saw it over time with the Astros where they were rebuilding and then they were challenging and then, you know, they just make plays. You know, they put the ball in play. They make outs. They make the pitch when they need to. And the Jays they don't have it yet. And it feels like it's within their grasp and that at some point they can get it. But, you know, the formula's not been right so far. Something's missing. Hard to put a finger on exactly what it is. I think if Vladdy gets going, and look, their underlying numbers, so I did a hit yesterday for SportsCenter, and I dug deep on some of the numbers for Vladdy, and his barrel rate, his hard hit percentage, those are actually better this year than last year. His launch angle is higher this year than last year. And so I think he's had some misfortune and some bad luck. And I do think if he keeps doing what he's doing, there is a hot streak coming, not to the level of 2021, but certainly better than what he's done so far this year. But they need it. They need to have it happen soon. They need margin for error. They need momentum. They need, you know, some relaxed at-bats. And it just feels like everything's sort of sluggish and tense right now. Instead of intense, they're tense, and they're certainly not delivering in the clutch.
Steve, how far away are you? I know you said there's something missing there. What is the distance from something missing to something's wrong? Like, whether it be in the clubhouse, somebody's got a problem. You know how teams just, the way they're getting waxed sometimes, and it's like they'll have their ups, and then they have these games where it's like there's just nothing. The pitcher gets rocked, there's no offense, and it's abysmal. So how far is the distance from something's missing to something's wrong?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? And so it's one that we're not there yet. And I think that you know, we've seen teams make runs where, you know, the Phillies last year were certainly in a worse position than the Blue Jays are right now, and they came back and rallied, got the third wild card spot, went on to win a World Series. And things were missing. And you know, they had some injuries. They lost Harper. They their bullpen wasn't right. They changed managers. They started to get hot. And so, but they did make a change, you know, and so the issue is not only that, but what the clock's ticking on the season. And certainly there's plenty of time still left to grind out and come back and get in the mix. And I mean, look, there's even a chance still that the Rays could struggle. They'll hit a wall like the Yankees did last year. Remember, the Yankees were playing out of their mind last year before they weren't when August came, and they sort of tailed off a little bit, and the gap got closed. And so that can happen to Tampa Bay this year. It doesn't feel like it right now, but it didn't feel like it last year for the Yankees. So I think you have to wait it out a little bit. It feels there's something different about, like I look at San Diego. San Diego's manager, Bob Melvin, said it, and he's right. They lack grit. They don't have Bobichette. They don't have Kiermaier, who are diving in Springer, diving and crashing into walls. And they're sort of a finesse team that has no sort of fight and grit to it. This team has it in there, but it comes down to execution as well. And that the consistency feeds off of each other, where one starting pitcher hands it over to the next one, and you don't get, a clunker from somebody every turn through the rotation, but you rattle some off a little bit. So, it's timing's part of it, but I think you play it out through the end of the season before you think something's wrong. And I don't propose changing managers, but I think that if what I would be doing is I would be behind the scenes supporting my manager, which doesn't mean just patting him on the back and telling him, hey, good job, hang in there, keep going. It'd be like, what are we doing? Coaches, what are we doing? We don't want to make them uncomfortable. Well, you know what? Make them uncomfortable. I don't care if guys are uncomfortable. Comfort isn't getting them anywhere right now. So stir it up a little bit. Let's try everything we can to get it going. And play devil's advocate for the coaching staff and the manager, not in a way to criticize them, but to challenge their thinking to maybe consider some other options on ways that they can tweak things to get things going.